Can you actually do the best rides at PortAventura in the summer without buying an express pass? Well, we spent 2.5 days at PortAventura World during the summer and we didn't use any express passes. One thing that really helped us decide what to do each day was the PortAventura app and the wait time boards around the park. You can use it to see the rides and their current wait times, so we check it throughout the day and use that to decide where to head to next. Obviously the wait times can change really quickly, but it was really useful for seeing which rides had shorter queues and which ones we might be better leaving until later. So in this video I'm taking you through all the rides we actually managed to get on, what we thought of them, and I'll also show you the big rides we didn't manage to fit in. We had a mixture of family rides, water rides, and some of the biggest roller coasters at PortAventura. So if you're planning a trip and wondering whether you really need to pay extra for Express, hopefully our experience will help. First up was Tomahawk over in the far west area of PortAventura. This is a smaller wooden roller coaster and a good family ride if you're not quite ready for the bigger coasters. It's nowhere near as intense as some of the rides we'll get to later, but it's a fun one to start with and one the whole family can enjoy. Next was Tuki Splash in Polynesia, and if you're visiting PortAventura in the summer, you're definitely going to want to make the most of the water rides. You've got a couple of drops on this one, and depending where you're sitting, you can get pretty wet. We got the front of the boat and we got absolutely soaked. But obviously when it's hot you do get to dry off quite quickly, but I do recommend if it is maybe a little bit cooler, then maybe you leave this ride to last so then you can go back to your hotel and change. Next up is Street Mission. This is the Sesame Street attraction. This is completely different from the thrill ride and is a great option if you're traveling with younger children. It's an interactive dark ride where you're helping the Sesame Street characters complete their mission. Even with older kids, it's a nice change of pace from the roller coasters. We did find that this ride was always really busy, with at least 1 hour to 2 hour queues. So what we decided to do was head to this first thing when the park opens at 10 o'clock, and we got on the ride in about 15 minutes. So I do recommend, if this is top of your list, that you make this one of the first rides that you go to in the park. And now on to one of the big ones, Dragon Can. This was one we really wanted to make sure we got on. So again, on a different day, we went first thing when the park opened. I think this is a really useful tip if you're visiting PortAventura without Express. If there's a particular big ride that you absolutely don't want to miss, getting there early and heading straight for it can make a huge difference. Dragon Khan is one of PortAventura's most famous roller coasters with 8 inversions, so it's definitely one for the thrill seekers. We went on Dragon Khan first thing, which meant we didn't have to spend a huge amount of our day standing in a long queue for it. Now Shambhala is also in the same area, so if you want to ride both, this is a really good opportunity to do them one after the other. We actually didn't go on Shambhala during this trip, but as I said, it is in the same area, so if it's on your must-do list, then you can do them together. Next up we have the Grand Canyon Rapids, another water ride and another ride that's very welcome in the summer heat. You're travelling around the rapids in a circular raft, so you're never quite sure who's going to get the biggest splash. Yes, some people definitely ended up wetter than others. As you can see, this was a 45-minute queue, and it did move quite quickly because people are constantly getting on and off. Then we headed over to this ride. I'm not going to try and pronounce it because I know I'd get it wrong. This is another smaller family attraction, so it is a good contrast to the huge coasters like Dragon Khan. It's also a good option if you're travelling with younger kids, because it does make a good ride, even if it does make you a little bit dizzy. And then we're on to Kontiki Wave, which is another attraction in Polynesia. It's a swinging ship ride, and it definitely gives you that stomach dropping feeling as it swings higher. Again, it's something completely different from the roller coasters, so we liked having a good mix of attractions throughout our time in the park. Again, the queues were never that big for this ride, so we actually got to go on it a few times. And then we went on, which is probably one of the most popular attractions at PortAventura, which is Uncharted. This is one where we definitely use the app to our advantage. Most of the time we'd seen the queue sitting at around 2 hours, which just wasn't something we wanted to spend our day queuing for that long. But when we checked the app, around probably about 9 o'clock in the evening, the wait had dropped down to around an hour, so we decided that was an opportunity and headed over. There are things to look at and things happening as you make your way through the queue, so it isn't just standing in the completely empty corridor. I didn't actually film this ride because it was actually quite dark. The ride itself is a combination of dark ride and roller coaster with sudden movement drops, so you don't always know what's coming next. Waiting till the evening when the queue had dropped to an hour definitely worked much better for us. Next up we have this spinning thrill ride, so if you enjoy rides that throw you around a little bit, this one is worth trying. I have to say, my daughter and husband went on it. They seemed to queue for quite a long time because it was quite a slow moving ride, and they didn't say it was actually worth it, but obviously if you like these kind of rides, then give it a try. Finally, we went on this one. This is actually a maze rather than a traditional ride, and after spending so much time on roller coasters and water rides, it was nice to do something a little different. We did still have to queue for this one, but the queue time was around 5 to 10 minutes, so it was easy to squeeze in. Again, it was quite dark inside the maze. You're not really in there that long, but if you want to try something different, then it's an okay attraction. And so that was most of the rides we managed to get on during our 2.5 days at PortAventura in the summer without using express passes. We didn't manage absolutely everything. Furious Baco was the big one we missed, and we didn't get on Shambhala either, but we still managed a really good mixture of family rides, water rides, and some of the biggest coasters in the park. If you want to see the family rides that we got on, I do have a separate vlog which is up on my channel now. For us, I think the biggest lesson is that you can enjoy PortAventura without paying extra for express, but you do need to be a little bit strategic. Using the app to keep an eye on the live ride wait times was probably one of the most useful things we did. We could see when queues dropped and change our plans rather than spending hours standing in a line. And if there's a big ride that you absolutely don't want to miss, I'd recommend getting there early and making it one of your first rides of the day. If you are planning your own PortAventura holiday, I've got lots more videos to help you plan your trip. You can check out my PortAventura food vlog to see everything we ate, my PortAventura hotel review, and my Ferrari Land vlog if you want to see more of what we got up to. Don't forget to subscribe for more family travel, theme parks, cruises and holidays with older kids and teens. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.